Hello everyone, for the next episode of Grim League. Today I'm gonna showcase my last theory craft. Basically this is ARCHON. Around this item, this is a new item for season 7. A lot of people was curious how they gonna build this. This is basically chaos and electrocute / lighting type of spear. And honestly I take this as a personal challenge to bring this build together. And honestly I was surprised how good it is. First I'm gonna show some damage on dummies, and after that we have several stuff to do. I have to push Shattered Realm, Boundless Dungeons, that kind of stuff. So gear wise I test several stuff and I decide to go for 3-piece Cyclone set that boosts significantly damage that comes from Wind Devils. For my gloves I get Regards Grip. This is another seasonal item for season 7. I managed to corrupt this, that's why it's in this color. Corruption is not very good. It's a little bit more damage, but usually should be ideal if it's another electrocute proc. But this one is just cold burn and frost burn and some fire as well. Still better than nothing. Pants, I go for Stalwart of Nature's Bounty, Drake Sect, because this is a high life regen build. I have up to 3k. Now it's 2800 because I do some swaps, but basically when I upgrade my belt it's gonna be around 3k. This belt is a baby version, I still don't have the mythical one, which is basically a little bit sustained more on top. Rings, Tempest of Mending, Golus ring, and Aggressive of Attack. I stack a lot of offensive ability. These procs, they come with critical strike. My augment, my component Solid Seal of Annihilation comes with critical strike. Tons of stuff. This spear comes with this skill. This is a rocket. Basically it's a bread and butter because I can use basically just Wind Devils and Grasping Vines. And I can use this as a spam filler. I stack more electrocute damage than lighting, so I decide to ignore some damage skills, like I decide to not play against Aegis of Men here. Here Old Keeper is mostly for support. I get some offensive ability, life regen, resistance shred, a little bit offensive ability. Absorb is not very good. I don't have good uptime of Ascension, so I decide to skip it. 5 soft point in resilience, cause this is a nice threshold. And my Shaman tree is basically 1 point brute force for a little bit more life and more lightning damage. But as I said, I stack electrocute, so I decide to not play around this. And max out vines and entangling vines as well. Completely max Wind Devils, this is basically the main source of damage. Completely max Smoke Dragon Pact. Build is, I would say, okay in terms of sustain. Can be a little bit tricky. Stats wise is 50-50 physique and spirit. Basically I need a little bit more regen and defensive ability. Usually I prefer to go spirit dump, but this is a hardcore build, so pretty much prefer this setup. And modifiers basically. We have a little bit fire, cold because we stack elemental damage, but the most important, my lighting modifier is 2.4k. This is okay, I would say. Ideally should be more, but I need some off pieces to be a defensive ones, and I think damage is good enough. Devotions, my devotion route is standard electrocute caster. I twisted a little bit for more offensive ability, and because I plan to try a hard content with this one, I take goo instead of, for example, chariot. And this is basically standard caster / high regen build. I'm not gonna explain this cause there is a GRIMTOOLS. If you're experienced enough, you're gonna see basically my motives behind the decision. I think I test several setups, this worked for me best. Of course, devotion points is completely optional. And pretty much that's it. Let's see some damage on the dummies. I'm gonna send all the pets. I pop corruption as well. As you can see, we have around 250k on dot and maybe 80-90k on a raw rocket hard hit. We have enough resistance shred. Playstyle is basically entangling vines, corruption, and it just spam raw rocket until I build up my electrocute. Damage ramping scales very well as well. But let's see the build in action, real action. I have to push Shattered Realm. I hope I don't die, because everything happens. After all, I play hardcore, but I want to test the build on his full potential. So desecrated, this is gonna start from shard number 10, which is basically Shattered Realm 50. In the league, Shattered Realm is compressed. It's just number 15 applies for 75 at the game, or current compression at the game is 30. First and most important thing is to check mutators. I think should be okay, not some brutal ones. As you can see, everything melts. Build managed to kill every single nemesis in the game, the whole campaign. I managed to push kill here as well. Boundless dungeon, I plan to test this in the next couple of days. For now, I think it's much more better to push Shattered Realm just to see how it goes, because here is a different enemies and stuff. But I'm very happy with the results, because I start this completely without expectations. This item can be a little bit confused, but somehow I managed to find the best approach, for me at least. There is another option, you can play this as a Chaos caster, but you have to play Sentinel. But I think electrocute version is much more powerful. It's pretty fast for a caster, pretty durable as well. Definitely I can take hit or two. I don't have to avoid every single mechanic, but of course I have to avoid some, because this is a low armor build. My main sustain is a high regen and circuit breakers, and of course corruption spam. Corruption is a very good for the build. It applies another source of damage. On top of that, apply 25% total speed penalty. For clear speed is absolutely godly. Absolutely no problem at the chunks. I kill several nemesis as well. Build stacks electrocute pretty fast. Of course you have to be careful for arcane and that kind of stuff. After all, this is completely capable build to kite. I just don't feel necessary for now. That's why I go basically most of the time in melee range. Thanks to ghoul and my hand component, I have fairly amount of attack damage convert to hell as well. And Ras rocket hit pretty hard because he uses 200 weapon damage as a base, which is very good for a granted skill. Of course, I built godly build at season 6 and that get nerfed, and I expect this one to get nerfed as well. After all, it's way too good in my opinion. Not because I build it, of course, but build really feels very strong. As you can see, my timer, and I don't even rush that much. If I start to rush, I can put this in a very high numbers. There is a nemesis. We can see the damage in action. I just delete him. No problem at all. Of course, corruption type of mobs, bosses and stuff, heroes is very dangerous. This is general thing in the game. But still there is no damage that can one-shot me basically. I have time to react. Build is have a very large life pool. And of course I have ghoul. And I have giant, and I have my belt proc as well. So I have some window for mistakes, not very big one, but still not the worst. Of course this is just SR50, it's not some high-end game chunks. This is another Reaper of Souls. Let's just try him again. Basically I just avoid the thunder. There is a healer behind. This is not very good for us. Slightly slow kill, but because the healer at the back. And let's see the boss room and SR50. I hope it's not something crazy. So we have Zarya and Mossy. Mossy is gonna be a little bit scary with all the stuff that he summons. Thankfully no Thunder Mechanic. Just I have to kite him a little bit. But he is very slow, so... Laria the Hexer and Dirk. I'll keep some distance until my... And that's it. We got some skill point. Already everything's maxed out, so maybe I can take 1 point here. Let's see the next chunk. We got directly short room again. This is another boss room. I'm not sure if this is Mossy again. Yep, this is Mossy again. I'm gonna just avoid few of the mechanics. Janaxia. Not my best play in this room, but still not my worst. I still adapt to the build. After all, I built this in the last 2 days. But playstyle is pretty flexible. You have a lot of window to kite. I have a lot of range as well. Just I deal more damage if I stay in a mid-range. The most important thing is to apply corruption. This is my main source of crowd control. And of course my vines. Somebody died to Bolvar. Let's price him with a F. Of course, Arcane Heroes priority. We have Kuba spawn. I can deal with it. It's not very hard. I can face tank basically for most part. But with so much odds, I prefer not to. But pretty fast, clean kill. Just damage is insanely good. I mean, for a off-meta build, there is some crazy builds at the league. Arcane. Absolutely destroying everything. We have Mossy, Father Abaddon. I have to be careful, this guy sometimes is pretty rippy. He has crystals as well. Again, Mossy. I prefer distance. I have plenty of time, I don't want to risk my character. And there is some obstacles that I can pass. My freeze resistance not very good. Usually I use overfrost for the most part. Jaran, this guy is not very scary. Thunder mechanic is very easy to dodge. Destroy him. There is a treasure trove. I'm gonna port this. Boss room's gonna become harder and harder. We already got one Nemesis spawn. Even defender heroes don't stand any chance. This build stacks electrocute pretty fast. Honestly, this is one of my successful projects during the league. Of course, we rely on a lot of procs as well. Let's see the next boss room. What we got first, Navan. He's not so scary. I'm just gonna face tank him. Irgan, Matt priced. This guy is a cold base. He has some shotgun mechanics, but I'm just gonna risk it. Another Mossy spawn, and these guys, I hate them, they are pretty dangerous. Especially when I pull the whole room. I'm gonna pop up my overfrost. This is gonna be pretty bad. As you can see, Mossy, it's at 20% just from my passive damage. I would say this was a very spicy room. Okay, this is SR60 in the original game or in the League 12. So far build performs very well. Because I didn't trigger any ghoul proc, which means I don't take so much damage. This is insane density. This is Alexander. Didn't saw him. But I'm just gonna delete him. It's very important to pay attention to the minimap. I definitely miss him. And he hit me with a thunder. There is another Nemesis. This is Benjar. Problem with him, he has entrap mechanic and he hits pretty hard. This is probably one of the scariest for my build, because he charged me now. But thankfully he is very slow. I'm gonna sip myself some tea. It becomes spicier and spicier. I don't want to lose this build before I test its full potential. But that can happen. This is the thing when you play hardcore. There is another Nemesis. Let's see. Alexander again. Let's approach him. No problem at all. Alexander usually doesn't have enough damage to kill you. But if he hits you with the thunder and couple of the other skills, definitely he can. Another Benjar. This is not very good. But damage is so good. This is SR60, which means all of these Nemesis, they are on steroids. And this build is not even close to min-max. I miss high level belt, corruptions, some other stuff. This is Reaper of the Lost. This is baby version of Ravager, but but he's no match for this build. Another Ravager. Sorry, Reaper of the Lost. That Thunder. I'm gonna press some defensives. So far our pushing goes very well. No so much spicy moments apart from the last boss room that I pulled everything, which I usually avoid, but that's the problem when you play Electrocute Archon. I have tons of damage around me that I can't control basically. Also I have to be careful here, it's very hard to navigate. And I don't have much escaping routes. This is next boss room. Let's see what we got. Salazin, Kaisan, Keeper of the Gates, Darius. So let's try to take just this guy instead of pull again the whole room. Okay, now it's time for Kaisan, I think. Kaisan is not so dangerous for us, apart from the Thunder and the Crystal. This is the crystals, I'm gonna basically just take care of them. This is the Thunder. I mean, usually he doesn't have hot enough damage to kill us. Keeper of the Gate. He can dish out some serious damage in a melee range, so I'm gonna keep some fair distance. And the last one was Darius. This guy actually hits pretty hard. This is a Shattered Realm version of Darius Crowley. And he's much more dangerous than his campaign version. Especially these meteors, they delay. And it's very easy to get hit by it. Okay, let's cash out, see what we got for this push. Tons of money, materials. We don't have enough room. Windshear Graves, this is probably the best find here. This is a very good find for this run. None of these legendaries particularly useful, apart of I can take this one. I can pick up the small stuff. Did I open the treasure trove? Actually, I can sell some stuff. Mossy shoulders, I'm gonna keep one pair just in case if I need them for a build. Iron Maiden, this is definitely a keeper. Gonna keep this as well. Laudus Varga, I can farm this pretty easily, so I'm not gonna be bothered. This is actually some item that I plan to do another theory craft. I plan to build, usually I don't like to play pets, but this one seems very interesting. And I want to build basically ether pets, like ether pets conjurer. It's gonna be interesting build definitely. That's why I'm gonna keep this. Let's pick up more stuff for sale. And let's get out of here. I got my points, I move slowly but surely to top 50. I'm gonna transfer some stuff to the cloud stash. I'm not sure if I'm gonna need them, but it's good to have some. These shields pretty common drop, but they are pretty good. Nidala guards, this one I can keep it. Definitely Iron Maiden goes there. This one I'm gonna keep it just to keep track on it. Hara, this is not good item. Definitely Chauces Barbaros going there as well. I found Essence of Ultus. Actually I can Ultus these gloves. Let's see if I'm gonna break them. I didn't. What we got? Attack damage convert to health. This actually is better proc. Is better corruption than what I have. Definitely a swap. I'm gonna keep these ones as well, just in case. But very good corruption. It's gonna help my survival ability. Let's move on materials that I found. I plan to do harder content. I don't want to lose my wealth. I don't mind to lose the character. These things happens. But rare materials is most important thing.
Come see what's left of my wares. See you around.
I miss some stuff to transfer. Main downside, if I want to corrupt my gear, it's gonna be very hard because Cyclone set uses Celestial Lotus for a craft, which is basically a ripoff. I don't play gunners, so probably I'm not gonna keep rest of this stuff. But Kaisan's amulet is something that I prefer to have. Sorry about that, just at the moment is very important to keep my wealth on track. Okay, I'm gonna leave 500,000, but rest is going here on a safe place. And I think we are ready to face some bosses. First one that I wish to try is Locker. I think my resistance is quite okay for this fight. I have 2 clusters if things get bad, and I can drink some basic stuffs. I'm gonna drink this, and I'm gonna craft jelly balm, essence, a little bit more life, and let's see if I can craft Devil's Crossing. This is actually, let's start with Barbarian Clones. I'm gonna progress from the easiest to hardest. Let's see how I'm gonna perform against Barbans.
The Shattered Realm. Ah, very well.
My poison resistance a little bit low. Usually you want to overcap by 25-30 for this battle, but I think should be okay. Modifiers quite fine. Bourbon clones, they use mechanic that they get shield at certain point. That's why you want to separate them a little bit. You don't want to end up with 5 of them that have a shield. That's why it's not very cool to kill them all together, because there is gonna be a window that you're gonna fight with 5 of them and they gonna be basically invincible. Of course, I don't think they have enough damage to kill me at this point. Also, you can reposition all the time. His build is basically a dot caster. I spam Ra rocket because it increased significantly my damage. But feel free to kite them until you unlock the actual form. This battle is naturally slow, not because your damage, it's just because the shield mechanic. And actually shield is quite long time on them. This is the actual form. Okay, bourbon clones easy. No problem at all. I don't need Geyser Man. Usually I have to take points. I hope it's not bugged. Okay, we can craft locker for the next run.
What brings you to my forge?
I hope I have the Devil's Crossing, Clarity. This is, I think, Great Cunning. Corvan Sands, this is Calagadra. Glory, Town Square. This is Galacross. Grace, Otherworld. I think Grace is Locker. Should be. Lunacy. No, Lunacy is Locker. Otherworld is Garia. I almost did a mistake. Again, my resistance is in a pretty good condition. Locker is a little bit scarier.
The Shattered Realm awaits. Ah, very well.
Let's see how it goes. If I take a lot of damage, I'm just gonna reset. Because
Humans are miserable wretches.
yeah, this is not cool.
You're just warming up.
Definitely don't like it. But this is not... Locker is a lot more scarier now than before.
I do.
You have to dodge a lot. You can't face tank him basically like before.
What a bloody display.
But not I basically did a mistake, but still okay. Usually I'm more confident if I have more clusters, which I don't this time. But I would say not a terrible kill, not the best kill either. Okay, we managed to kill Locker, Bourbon clones. I need to min-max a little bit the build before I face Mogdrogan and the rest. For Mogdrogan I need 80 cold and 80 lighting. I have already 80 lighting. I have to craft just a potion for 80 cold. And probably I'm gonna do Mogdrogan as well. He's just very slow battle. Actually, let's see if I can craft cold potion. I don't want to switch so much stuff. And I'm gonna try Mogdrogan as well. Unfortunately I can't, which makes the things a little bit complicated for this fight.
If you find any blueprints,
I'm gonna try it like this.
see you around.
I think should be alright. Asterkan Valley. Here is Locker. Not Locker, sorry, Mogdrogan. Mogdrogan's gonna be a little bit scary with all these thunders and arts that he summons. And my cold resistance as well a little bit sketchy. Let's see if I have some component to fix this right away. I'm gonna risk it. High risk, high reward.
The Shattered Realm. Ah, very well.
Avatar of Mogdrogan. This is the Thunder. Of course he is very tanky, like extremely tanky. And he's gonna be even more. I just genuinely hate this battle. Comes with a lot of kiting and stuff. You don't want to get hit in melee range. He has tons of offensive ability. This is the Thunder. Actually, I did these battles without my guardians. This is embarrassing. Now the damage is gonna be much better. Mogdrogan shotguns, so be careful with the stun jacks. Be careful with the summons as well, you don't want to get overwhelmed. He is highly resistant to lighting, which makes my life even more miserable. He's gonna try to come in melee, just to make sure his stun jack hits all of. At 50% life he's gonna enrage, and then the thing's gonna be more spicier. If I do a mistake, I can lead to one shot. Like this one. This one was a mistake. We are close to the moment that he's gonna enrage. And things gonna be much worse. Thankfully his thunder is not so long in a duration if you don't stay in the cloud. So at the moment he is in rage, he takes less damage, but deals more as well. He is one of the few bosses that have enrage mechanic when hits 50% life. And as you can see, he deals significantly more damage than before. I play hardcore, usually I can be a little bit more aggressive, but I don't want to. Especially when he gots me from time to time. This is his resistance shred, you have to be careful. He drops a lot, like a lot of resistances. Basically 80 elemental, but because he doesn't deal any fire, you have to be considered to max your lighting and cold, because these bulls they deal cold damage. Mogdrogan itself, he deals just lighting and physical, but for most part lighting. That's why also regularly you have to kill the odds. As I said, don't get overwhelmed. He's gonna try to shred your resistance. This is basically this lightning nova that he make when he comes next to you. You definitely don't want to get in melee range when fighting him, especially if you are a caster like me. Of course, melees, they don't have any choice, they have to approach him in melee. But he is very scary for melee builds. I don't have enough time to finish this battle, I think. Which means I can kill him in the normal game, not in the... Maybe if I min-max the build, gonna be better. But for now I'm not sure if 1 minute is enough to drop him. He takes no damage at all. I have to play a little bit more aggressive if I want to kill him. But yeah, not enough time definitely. I'm not sure if this kill is gonna count. But anyways, I'm gonna kill him for the showcase of the video. That was a mistake, a huge mistake by my side. Just lightning damage is not very good to approach McDrogan. And he is ridiculously tanky. I hate this boss. But yeah, it was quite long battle, maybe 10 minutes already. He got me with a shred. I have to be careful. As you can see, my damage is highly cut because his stupid mechanics. This is the most annoying battle ever. He always gonna try to close the distance. Okay, we didn't manage to beat the clock, but we take some points for the kill. We're not gonna have loot probably as well. Apart from his shoulders. But that's okay. We managed to kill Mogdrogan. We managed to kill Locker, Urban Clones. Build looks promising for now. Of course, Mogdrogan was extremely slow battle. But anyways, if I push tiebreakers, I'm not gonna do that by killing Mogdrogan. We got some nice items. And I think to end up the episode here, I'm still gonna post how this build works later on when I push more. But thank you everyone for watching. See you in the next one.